Welcome to the concession stand. I'm your host, LeBeau. Today I have with me Samaria.
Hello. Hi, my name is Samaria. What are we talking? We're talking about Star Wars today,
Yes.
right? It's quite the big one.
Yes.
To this day, is my favorite Never Have I Ever. I have never actually, sat down and watched the Star Wars movies from start to finish. I don't get it. I don't see the allure. I try to watch them and I get bored and I can't pay attention at all. So you are going to convince me to watch it?
Yes.
Yes.
First off, what's your relationship with movies as it stands?
My relationship with movies is love-hate, on and off.
Okay.
Perhaps. I have a very overactive imagination, and so I will sometimes hyperfixate on a movie and then not let it go. Of course, then once the hyperfixation disappears, I forget that the movie exists. But I don't really watch them. So much so that in middle school and in early high school, it became a game for my friends to find a movie that I had seen that wasn't specifically like a Disney movie that I would watch when I was like 2.
Right.
So there are a lot of movies that I haven't really seen, but I do enjoy movies when I am capable of, sitting down and watching them. And usually when I enjoy a movie, I love a movie. Star Wars has never been on that list, however.
So why is that? Is it just...
I've just never gotten into it. I've never really sat down and watched them. I watched the first, and I think maybe the second sequel of the sequel trilogy in the theaters, and that's the only Star Wars movie that I can really say that I've seen, but I remember very little about it. And everyone seems to hate those movies, and they're like, "Oh, you poor girl," every time I say that. So, there's that, but it's just the few times repeatedly that people have put it on and they've tried to be like, come on, watch it. I've either fallen asleep or I've gotten bored or auditory processing. I just can't follow along with the story. I've just never really, it's never been a favorite. I'd be willing to watch it. I would be willing to watch it, but it would be one of those things where I would have to be in a folding metal chair with a TV and I would have to be sitting like this looking at the movie because I would never, unless I were zeroed in on it, I would never be able to actually understand what was going on.
You'd basically need a Clockwork Orange, eyes peeled open.
Right? Something like that, yeah.
So how can I help you? How do you think I can help you then?
Well, first off, so there is a part of me that wants to watch it just because I've seen those clips that are comparing Star Wars to Harry Potter and be like, it's the same movie. But
not totally unfounded, but go on.
Yes, as they explained, in these videos. But just to start, why don't you explain to me the basic plot line?
Well, the basic plot is Luke Skywalker is an orphan farm boy who lives with his aunt and uncle on Tatooine.
Tatooine is a desert planet.
Yes.
It's all sand.
Yes.
Okay.
So he's a moisture farmer.
Okay.
I feel like I'm losing you.
This feels along the same line. Well, no, I understand the concept of moisture farming. It just feels along the same line as saying aura farming. From Gen Alpha, and I'm like, yes, I suppose that is the thing that you would be capable of doing.
Yes.
I don't know that I would personally want to do that, but to each their own.
Yeah. Okay.
We're on Tatooine.
Yes, you're on Tatooine. Actually, before this, Princess Leia is being pursued by the Empire because she has been given plans to the Death Star, which is this planet-killing weapon. And the Empire really wants this. And so she's being pursued by Darth Vader.
Why is Leia not with the Empire?
No, she is basically the head of the rebellion.
So the Empire are the bad guys.
Yes.
Okay.
And okay, and she hides the Death Star plans in a droid.
Yeah, and R2D2.
Yeah, and R2.
I know it, like, kind of it, but continue.
Okay.
It's you get to about Luke meeting Obi-Wan Kenobi and you lose me. That's where
Okay.
I get.
Okay.
But of course, as you're talking, I start to remember things.
Okay. So if we just jump to that point.
Right. So the way that the movie starts is that Leia is on a ship and she's being overrun by stormtroopers who never hit anything, apparently. Or so I'm told anyway.
It's plot armor, but
The Emperor, or not Emperor, the Empire really, really wants the plans to the Death Star. But Leia, as the head of rebellion, is like, aha, I got you, but I need to hide you. So I stick it in R2D2. And then we jump cut to Luke, who's on this desert planet, who's living with his aunt uncle. He also gets a droid. I think R2D2 is the droid that he gets.
Yes. So R2 and 3PO, the gold guy, are so they are picked up by Jawas. Little, you'll know when you see them. Little guys in brown robes and glowing eyes.
Okay.
You would probably definitely recognize them. So they're picked up by Jawas, and so they get sold to the Skywalkers. And that's when Luke is cleaning R2 up. That's when
the message from Leia plays, and then he goes off to find Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi is like, sure, I know him. He's me.
Yeah.
And then that's where I know nothing.
Yes. Okay. So after that, okay. After that, Obi-Wan's like, hey, you should come with me to Alderaan. Because that's where Leia is. Or at least her dad. It's like, come with me to Alderaan. And Luke's like, no, I gotta stay on the farm.
So he meets her dad before he meets her. Aren't Luke and Leia the ones? Or no, that's Han Solo. Who is it that marries Leia? I forget.
Han.
Okay.
So, Luke's like, I can't, I got responsibilities. And so he leaves. And they discover the Lars farm just completely devastated.
Oh no.
House is burned down. And
because of course a happy boy with his parents would never want to leave them, so they must kill the parents in order to get him to leave.
Yes. So basically, aunt and uncle are dead. Farm's gone, basically. So he's like, okay, yeah, I want to go to Alderaan. I want to learn to be a Jedi, like my father. And they go to Mos Eisley, which is the pit of scum and villainy, as Obi-Wan describes it. And they hire Han Solo to take him to Alderaan on the Millennium Falcon. They leave, pursued by the Empire. Luke has his first taste of victory as he and Han fight off TIE fighters on the way. And where they expect to find Alderaan is just an asteroid field. Because Leia, on the Death Star, as prisoner, the Empire decides to blow up Alderaan.
Okay.
And so, where Alderaan was, the Death Star is.
Okay.
And so, the Millennium Falcon is brought in on a tractor beam. And basically, the Death Star captures the Millennium Falcon. And so, Han and Luke go to rescue the princess. And Obi-Wan goes on a solo mission to bring down the shields so they can escape. While he's trying to bring down the shields, after he brings down the shields, and Luke and Han rescue Leia. Obi-Wan encounters Darth Vader, and they duel. And Obi-Wan basically sacrifices himself to make sure that Luke gets away. And that spurs Luke to want to fight the Empire, to join the rebellion. And they use the plans so the Death Star plans revealed a weakness. And so basically,
because the Death Star was supposed to be like this indestructible force that no one could beat from the outside.
Yeah.
So you had to blow it up from the inside, but that means you have to get inside.
Kind of. It's kind of convoluted, but there's basically like a maintenance trench around the outside. And at one end there's an exhaust port that leads directly to the reactor. And so this mission becomes, we're going to send a bunch of X-Wings down this trench and fire torpedoes into this maintenance shaft, blow it up. And there's a precise targeting computer that every single pilot was relying on. And so towards the end of the battle, Luke's the only pilot left. And his targeting computer... Okay, so one guy already did use the targeting computer. It missed. And so it was like, okay, Luke, it's all up to you now. And
my guess is that Luke did it manually. He didn't use the targeting computer.
Yes, he used the Force. As Obi-Wan says, through the Force, to use the Force. And he uses feelings to feel where and when to fire his torpedoes, and blew up.
Okay.
So that is the basic plot of Star Wars.
Okay.
I feel like I explained it badly.
That's fine. So, the reason why Vader being Luke's father was such a plot twist then is because Luke was told your father was a Jedi?
Yes.
And Vader was a Jedi?
Yes.
Because he used to be Anakin.
Yes.
So why does he wear the mask?
Because he was horribly disfigured and burned.
Huh. Oh, because of the lava.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember that. Because of the stupid video with like the Google Translate and running it to Google Translate. Ooh,
Funniest thing I ever saw.
My wonderful boyfriend will not stop quoting that video. Okay.
Anyway.
So,
yes.
So that's the basic plot. But why is it
so compelling?
Yeah, like why is it so compelling? Why has it gained such a cult following over the years?
Well, there was, I think for one thing, you have to understand like what the cinematic climate was in the 70s.
Because it was released. Is that when it was released?
Yes, 1977. So the cinematic climate and sci-fi climate. So in cinema generally, it was very dark, drab. It just wasn't a great time in America. So like it was post-Vietnam, post-Watergate. And so people weren't very hot on being Americans. And that was reflected in the cinema at the time. So like you have really like dark, depressing movies like The Godfather.
Which I've also never seen.
I have a list. Hold up. Pull up my document. Okay. So like Taxi Driver. Or...
Which I've never heard of.
It's
This gets
a
so
Martin
much more
Scorsese
complicated
film.
when you start comparing it to other movies that I've never seen.
It's a lot of like gangster crime dramas.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so like The Godfather.
Right.
It was just a dark time for movies.
Mm-hmm.
And
We were
then
in like the grim dark era, but in the 70s.
Yes.
And now we're repeating that in the 2020s.
yes. So that was like the climate of cinema in general, and then you have with sci-fi, you have very campy and high-minded Star Trek. You have the campy Superman, and then you have very cerebral movies like 2001: Space Odyssey.
You feel like Star Trek. What do you mean by high minded?
Uh, Star Trek is more about philosophy.
I don't see how that's a bad thing.
I just don't like it as much. Anyway, it was campy. So, like, campy, cheap. And that was basically what everyone
What do you
expected.
mean by campy?
Like, what do you know about Star Trek?
It's my mom's favorite show. In the very beginning of, I think, I don't know what specific iteration of Star Trek it is. It might be Next Generation. I'm not sure. But Captain Picard, in the very beginning of the show, he is an a-hole of a captain. He is like, nope, we're doing it my way. We're doing this, blah, 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 blah. But then by the end of the series, he has like a full-blown extended character arc where he does develop as a character, which is something that isn't really seen in our more modern shows, where it's like even you get those, monster of the week TV shows where someone will sit down and they'll be like, oh, I have this problem. And then they learn and they grow from it in the TV, in the episode. And then next week, oh, I've forgotten everything that I learned. I'm acting exactly the same way. And oh, wouldn't you know it, 2 weeks later, we're learning the exact same lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And it just goes through this cycle where they milk it over and over again. And the characters learn, but then they never actually learn.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the general themes behind Star Trek, or at least that iteration of it in particular, was this idea of humans can be good, and like societally it is our job and our responsibility to continue seeking after good,
Mm-hmm.
and to continue seeking after being better people. And there are going to be times in which we are flawed, but it is our responsibility to hold ourselves accountable and to correct that.
Yeah. That's basically what I mean. Like, it's morality more based on philosophy, but with Star Wars, it's like good versus evil. Like, it's a more classical, I want to almost like operatic or mythic type of morality.
Yeah, it's the very cut and dry. It's the fairy tale concept.
Yeah.
It's very cut and dry.
And I think that's why it resonated so well, so much.
Well, it resonated then, and I get that, but why is it so popular now?
I mean, for one thing, parents and kids.
This is true.
And like, well, the reason it still I think the reason it still resonates is because it harkens back to like the story structure of like the Odyssey and these mythologies. Like
Going back to the hero's journey.
Yes, Joseph Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
I assume you're aware of that.
I am currently in English 150. We're like, our whole first essay of the semester was all surrounding the hero's journey and how you have the call to adventure, going to the new world. You have mentors and allies, and then it's trials and monsters, and then sacrifice, transformation, prize, and power, and returning home unchanged.
Yeah.
So those are the 8 general, like a very, very rough overview, but that's the 8 steps of the hero's journey.
Yeah.
And the idea is that every single story, especially very well loved stories, there are some that will flip or like, I'm blanking on the word, circumvent almost that story to create a specific, like very tragic, very like, because tragedy is supposed to be cathartic, right? And so it's this very sad, very dreary, oh, the heroes never win kind of thing. But generally, when you get into a story where it's good versus evil, or where it's the good guys always win, but we're gonna lie to you a little bit and make it seem like they don't, it generally will always follow this pattern. And so Star Wars, as you have well explained, follows this pattern. But I almost feel like Star Wars is campy to me because it's the same story every single time.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, George Lucas said himself, like it's like poetry. It rhymes. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's the same story all the time.
I mean, it's not the same story. There are different characters, and they have different faces, and they have different goals, and all these different things. But it's very predictable, and it's campy in the sense that it is expected. It is, this very, like, I could guess it from the beginning kind of thing. You say one thing, and it's like, oh, so this is what happens next.
But here's the question, though. Is that really a bad thing?
It's not, I guess, if you want to sit down in front of a TV and turn your brain off, but my brain is so active anyway that even if it did, I need something that challenges me in order to get me to shut off, which I think is why I prefer Star Trek over Star Wars. Star Trek is more compelling to me for precisely that philosophical reason, because it is not so cut and dry, but then again, even in Star Trek, there is, these depictions of good versus evil. It's just, what is your definition of evil? Generally, when you get to the very cut and dry, no, this is not okay in the Star Trek series, it has to do with people taking advantage of others, outright murder, abuse of women and children, and all of these different things, and not so much the fantastical, whimsical, we're going to shoehorn this set group of people into the category of evil. Part of the things that frustrates me about Star Wars, or at least that I've seen frustrates other people, especially with the sequels talking about Poe and about the fact that it's like you have this stormtrooper, or this reformed stormtrooper,
Finn, I think
Finn, or it might be Finn.
Yeah, Poe's the pilot.
Oh, I flipped them in my brain. But the stormtrooper who has the Force and has this, like, I love when you give me a character who is not, who is supposed to be one way and they go against it entirely.
Yeah.
Right? And so this idea of he could have had this very complex, in-depth characterization, and then by the end of these sequels, even though the fact that I've never seen it, I've heard stories, by the end of these sequels, he's slaughtered uselessly, just that way, Rey could have her glory moment when she's super overpowered and not fleshed out at all.
Yeah.
That's frustrating to me. Why, like, what's the point of me getting attached or invested in the story at that point? They're just gonna throw it away. Whereas if at least with Star Trek, if they're going to be philosophical about it, or if they're going to say we have a complex character, they follow through.
And I think that's more of an issue with the sequels. And
this is true.
Would completely agree with that. But I think there is a lot more nuance in the original 6.
Which I've never seen, so that would be fair.
And then, yeah, it harkens back to this... these themes of good versus evil and redemption. I think that's
Who's
really
redeemed?
Vader.
Vader's redeemed?
Yes.
When? How? What?
Watch the movies.
Oh, I hate you.
But that's the journey. That's the real hero's journey through all 6 movies. It's all about Vader. It's all about Anakin.
Okay, wait, hold on. You threw me for a loop there. Star Wars is not about this rebellion. It's not about Luke and Leia and
On the surface,
Han.
maybe.
The 6 movies are about Vader?
Yes. The 6 movies are about Anakin Skywalker.
Huh.
It's so cool. Ah.
So your pitch and your justification, or not, I shouldn't say justification, but your reasoning behind why Star Wars has been so popular is because it is familiar, is because it does call back to this very, very familiar and very well-loved story of redemption and of good versus evil and of all these different things.
Yeah. That's why I think it's stuck. For me, do you want to know why?
Why do you personally love Star Wars?
I mean, it speaks to me, especially as a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you dive into like what it took George Lucas to make that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible, and I guess going back to why it's so important culturally, and why it's still so prevalent is because of what it kicked off. Like, it changed cinema forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it changed sci-fi. Before it was all like squeaky clean and polished, but now with Star Wars, it's like this universe is ancient. Like everything's, it felt lived in.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sci-fi back then used to be futuristic.
Yeah.
Not like it was like this is something we will get to, not this is something that has been.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that was part of it, right? And such a new concept.
Mm-hmm.
But personally, for George, he took it, I think, to 6 studios.
Wow.
Until someone at Fox said, "You know what? Fine, we'll give it a go." And then production was a whole other can of worms. When they were shooting on for Tatooine, that shoot was delayed, or rather extended, maybe like 5 days because of sandstorms.
Because they did it like in an actual like desert location.
Yeah. The actors for Obi-Wan and Grand Moff Tarkin, who were Hollywood legends, they thought it was a trash film, and so they were basically in it for the paycheck.
Oh no.
The British crew thought it was a kid's show, so they didn't take it seriously. ILM, Industrial Lights, George started ILM specifically for Star Wars because there wasn't
ILM?
Industrial Light and Magic.
Industrial Line.
Industrial Light and Magic. It's basically any modern movie you see, the special effects were done by ILM.
Oh, okay.
And in the 1970s, there weren't any special effects houses. And so, like, this giant space epic, he had to basically grassroots, like, everything. And a lot of the time during when they were filming in Tunisia and in England for all the other stuff, ILM was basically tinkering around, and they had to create whole different processes, and it was just fascinating.
So they basically like invented new technology to make Star Wars.
Yeah, like there's a radio control arm. which is basically you can program a camera on a track. And so the same shot could be done over and over and over. And that's used very much today. But the biggest thing was just how, so George almost had a nervous breakdown.
As most, creatives do.
Yeah.
I've had that myself a couple of times.
Yeah. So he almost had a nervous breakdown on set. And by the time it was over, he went over budget.
Probably about like 3 times or something.
That's actually probably accurate. So he went over budget, which is insane because the budget was $11 million, all told, and it made $775 million.
Wow.
So that's $4 billion today in today's dollars.
That's a lot. That's a lot of money.
So with going over budget and going over schedule, and all the nervous wreck he was when he wrapped and post-production was done, he didn't even go to premiere.
Oh.
He just went
Poor
to
guy, that's a lot.
He was just like, okay, I made it. I don't care if it's a success. I don't think it's going to be a success. I'm just going to go to Hawaii with Steven Spielberg and dream up Indiana Jones. And so he was on a beach in Hawaii when his friends called like, hey, you made a huge hit. He didn't believe it. And so to think that it almost wasn't is something that really speaks to me of like, that's why it's so important. But anyway, that's my spiel. Did I convince you?
There's really no need for convincing. The reason that I met my boyfriend was because he was like, the reason why I got my boyfriend's number was because I was like, he likes Star Wars. I've never seen it. It's an easy thing that I can, get, ask for. That I can be like, hey, I want to hang out with you. Let's watch Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I, to this day, 6 months later, have still not watched Star Wars with him. And now I have a reason to, I suppose.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This has been a whole lot of fun.
And that's our show. Brought to you by Popcorn Fumes and a Prayer. Our executive producer is Penny Pincher. Director of photography is Cam Speed. Our first AD was Slade Clapper. Audio by Check12. Legal by Sumi Idaria. Makeup by Make You Pretty. Marketing wizard is Trey Lur. Our stunts were by Fallen Hard. Script notes were from Paige Turner. Editor Seymour Takes. Transportation via Miles Away. And union manners are handled as always by Sal Ari. Special thanks to the BYU Idaho Communications Department for the studio space and equipment. Thanks for listening and watching. And remember, if it looks good, it was probably done in post.